Okay. So maybe move the clock over here. Okay, that's there. Okay. Got our books. Blankie. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Are you joining or what? Come on. Are you joining too? Okay, hi. Hi, yeah. Okay. Oh boy. And it's already started. Hi, I know, I see you. Hello everyone. Okay. So tonight we've got Room on the Broom for our Halloween book. And then we'll finish up with The Best Nest and It's Not Easy Being a Bunny in here. So do you want to go Room on a Broom first? Okay. You got it, Mr. Loud Clapper. Okay. Let's see here. Room on the Broom. The witch had a cat and a hat that was black, and long ginger hair and braid down her back. How the cat purred and how the witch grinned as they sat on the broomstick and flew through the wind. But how the witch wailed and how the cat spat when the wind blew so wildly it blew off the hat. Down! Cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the hat, but no hat could be found. Then out of the bushes, on thundering paws, there bounded a dog with the hat in his jaws. He dropped it politely, then eagerly said, as the witch pulled the hat from her head, I am a dog, as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for a dog like me? Yes, cried the witch, and the dog clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the fields and forests they flew. The dog wagged his tail, and the stormy wind blew. The witch laughed out loud and held on to her hat, but away blew the bow from her braid, just like that. Down! Cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the bow, but no bow could be found. Then out from a tree, with an ear-splitting shriek, there flapped a green bird with the bow in her beak. She dropped it politely and bent her head low, then said, as the witch tied her braid with the bow, I am a bird, as green as can be. Is there room on the broom for a bird like me? Yes, cried the witch. So the bird fluttered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the reeds and the rivers they flew. The birds shrieked with glee, and the stormy wind blew. They shot through the sky to the back of beyond. The witch clutched her bow, but let go of her wand. Down! Cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the wand, but no wand could be found. Then all of a sudden, from out of a pond, leaped a dripping wet frog with a dripping wet wand. He dropped it politely, and then said with a croak, as the witch dried the wand on the fold of her cloak, I am a frog, as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for a frog like me? Yes, said the witch. So the frog bounded on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the moors and the mountains they flew. The frog jumped for joy, and the broom snapped in two. Down fell the cat, and the dog and the frog. Down they went tumbling into a bog. The witch's half broomstick flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. I am a dragon, as mean as can be, and a witch with French fries tastes delicious to me. No, cried the witch, flying higher and higher. The dragon flew after her, breathing out fire. Help! Cried the witch, flying down to the ground. She looked all around, but no help could be found. The dragon drew near, with a glint in his eyes, and said, just once, I'll have witch without fries. But just as he planned to begin on his feast, from out of a ditch rose a horrible beast. It was tall, dark, and sticky, and feathered and furred. It had 4 frightening heads. It had wings like a bird. And its terrible voice, when it started to speak, was a yowl and a growl and a croak and a shriek. It dripped and it squelched as it strode from the ditch, and it said to the dragon, "Buzz off, that's mine, witch." The dragon drew back, and he started to shake. "I'm sorry," he sputtered. "I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly." And he spread out his wings and was off through the sky. Then down flew the bird, and down jumped the frog. Down climbed the cat, and phew, said the dog. "And thank you, oh thank you," the grateful witch cried. "Without you, I'd be in that dragon's inside." Then she filled up her cauldron and said with a grin, "Find something, everyone, throw something in." The cat found a comb, the bird found a twig, the dog found a bone, and the dog found a bone. They threw them all in, and the witch stirred them well. And while she was stirring, she muttered a spell. Iggity, ziggity, zaggity, zoom! Then out rose a truly magnificent broom, with seats for the witch and the cat and the dog, a nest for the bird, and a pool for the frog. "Yes!" cried the witch, and they all clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Okay. And now, continue our read through here. The best nest. Mr. Bird was happy. He was. You weren't chasing him like this morning. He was so happy he had to sing. This was Mr. Bird's song. "I love my house, I love my nest, and all the world, my nest is best." Then Mrs. Bird came out of the house. "It's not the best nest," she said. "I'm tired of this old place," said Mrs. Bird. "I hate it. Let's look for a new place right now." So they left the old place to look for a new one. "This place looks nice," said Mr. Bird. "Let's move in here." But someone else had already moved in. So they looked at another house. "This one looks nice," said Mr. Bird, "and there's nobody in it." "You're wrong," said Mrs. Bird. "This house belongs to a foot." So they went on looking. "I like this one," said Mr. Bird. "It has a pretty red flag on the roof." "I've always wanted a house with a flag," said Mrs. Bird. "Maybe this place will be all right." But it was not all right. "I guess I made a mistake," said Mr. Bird. "You make too many mistakes," said Mrs. Bird. "I'm going to pick the next house." And here it is, right here. They flew in. They looked around. "Isn't it too big?" asked Mr. Bird. "I like this big place," said Mrs. Bird. "This is the place to build our new nest." They went right to work. They needed many things to build their nest. First, they got some hay. They got some soda straws and broom straws. They got some sweater string. They got some sock string and mattress stuffing. They got some horsehair. They got some man hair. Soon they had all the hay, all the straw, all the string, all the stuffing, all the horsehair, and all the man hair they could carry. They took it all back to build their nest. Mr. and Mrs. Bird worked very hard. It took them the rest of the morning to finish their nest. "This nest is really the best," said Mrs. Bird. "I want to stay here forever." Mr. Bird was very happy too. He flew to the top of his house. He sang a song again. "I love our house, I love our nest, in all the world, our nest is best." He was so busy singing, he didn't even notice Mr. Parker coming. Every day at 12 o'clock, Mr. Parker came to the church. Mr. Parker came to pull a rope. The rope went up to the bird's new nest. The rope rang the big bell right under Mrs. Bird's nest. Bong, bong, bong. Mrs. Bird got out of there as fast as she could fly. Bong, 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 bong. When Mr. Bird came in, all he could see was a mess of hay and string and stuffing and horsehair and man hair and straws. Where was Mrs. Bird? "I will look for her until I find her," said Mr. Bird. He looked high. He looked low. He looked everywhere for Mrs. Bird. He looked down into a chimney. Mrs. Bird wasn't there. He looked down into a water barrel. Mrs. Bird wasn't there. Then he saw a big fat cat. There was a big fat smile on the big fat cat's face. There were some pretty brown feathers near the fat cat's mouth. Oh, Mr. Bird began to cry. Oh dear, he cried. This big fat cat is eating Mrs. Bird. Mr. Bird flew off. I'll never see Mrs. Bird again, he cried. It was getting dark. It began to rain. It rained harder and harder. Mr. Bird could not see where he was going. Crash! Mr. Bird bumped into something. It was his old house, that old house that Mrs. Bird hated. I'll go inside, said Mr. Bird, to rest here until the rain stops. Mr. Bird went in, and there was Mrs. Bird, sitting there, singing. I love my house, I love my nest. In all the world, this nest is best. You, here, he gasped. Gasped Mr. Bird. I thought you hated this old nest. Mrs. Bird smiled. I used to hate it, she said. But a mother bird can change her mind. You see, there's no nest like an old nest for a brand new bird. And when the egg popped open, the new bird thought so too. What are your thoughts on that? Oh. Would you like a child finger in your eye? You have a weird arrangement. All right. Now, it's not easy being a bunny. PJ Funny Bunny was very sad. He did not like being a bunny. His mother made him eat cooked carrots every day. He had far too many brothers and sisters, and his ears were very big. One day, PJ decided to leave home. I don't want to be a bunny anymore, said PJ. I want to be a bear. Excuse me. And PJ went to live with the bears. But when the bears went to sleep for the winter, PJ could not sleep at all. Living with the bears was not very exciting. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear. I want to be a bird. And PJ went to live with the birds. PJ liked being a bird until he tried to fly. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird. I want to be a beaver. And PJ went to live with the beavers. The beavers liked to work very hard. PJ did not like to work at all. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver. I want to be a... Ooh, why am I yawning so much? I want to be a pig. And PJ went to live with the pigs. But the only thing the pigs liked to do was sit in the mud. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig. I want to be a moose. And PJ went to live with the moose. But PJ could not make good moose calls. Apparently moose calls sound like moo. And PJ could only do moo. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose. I want to be a possum. And PJ went to live with the possums. The possums like to hang upside down, but hanging upside down gave PJ a headache. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum. I want to be a skunk. And PJ went to live with the skunks. It did not take PJ very long to find out he did not like living with the skunks. So, what are you looking for? What you looking for? You looking for your remote? All right, well, we're almost done with the story. Can we look for it when we're done? Okay. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum or, most of all, a skunk. What I really want to be is a bunny. So PJ hurried home. The funny bunnies were very happy to see him. PJ was very happy to see them. That night, PJ ate all of his cooked carrots. and played with every one of his brothers and sisters. He was so happy to be a bunny again that he did not care that his ears were very big. At least everyone can see that I am a bunny, PJ said, and not a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum or a skunk. Yeah. I think, where would your thing be? All right. Anyway, I'll find that when we turn this off in a second. Oh, it's right here. Let's see. There it is. Is that what you want? Yeah. Okay, so we finished that. So tomorrow we'll have three, well, not three new, but three different stories. We do have, well, the orange one you got to read 3 stories in. I don't want to do that. We do have Bernstein Bear's Bible book that we haven't read in a little bit. We could read through that. That could be good. And maybe we'll do that starting tomorrow. We'll keep with the Halloween book, and then we'll continue with Bernstein Bears. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. In fact, so I'm looking at it right now underneath this shelf. So then tomorrow we'll read the big book of Bernstein Bear. Oh no, this is the big book of Bernstein Bear beginner books. So we'll read that. I was looking at that. I was thinking we have a Bible book of the Bernstein Bears, but this was the book I was looking at. So we'll read this one. So then tomorrow we'll start with, what's the first one? The bike lesson and the bear's picnic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 6 in here. So we'll do 2 a night plus a Halloween story. So that'll be the plan for the next 3 nights. So that'll be good. Okay. Yeah, so many books. I really need to reorganize this whole area. So much. Oh, you got Christmas on. Child after my own heart. All right, guys. So we will see you all tomorrow night for more stories and for starting to read this one. Okay. Good night, everybody. Or the computer will turn off. Good night.